And it is our pleasure now to welcome in Fox College Football Analyst, insider, and all-around great man. And I need to quote this from his biography: a man who finished his career as the school's all-time leader in passing yards, 7,375 yards at Colorado. He is Joel Klatt. Welcome to BYU Sports Nation, Joel.
I actually thought you were going to say, let me read this from his bio. One-time Idaho Falls Padre who got ejected when playing the Provo Angels in Provo. I thought that's where we were going.
That was slated for later.
Doing?
Yeah,
hey,
that's the lingering taste you've had from Provo. Hopefully we can get you a Cougar tail and enjoy it. But first time at LaVell Edwards Stadium for Big Noon Kickoff, for Fox. This is big time. Welcome to town. What are you hoping for and expecting in a big game with Arizona and BYU?
Well, I agree with what you guys were just kind of saying there, that little music video montage. I think BYU is an excellent team, guys. Like this is probably one of two or three teams in the country that I think has achieved at a high level and no one talks about them. And you look at some of these wins that they have now with Kansas State and SMU, and you're like, oh, okay, like they're building something really special. I can't wait to be. I've never actually covered a game in LaVell Edwards Stadium. I've always admired it from afar, just watching as a college football fan, the environment that is created here. So I can't wait to experience it myself. And this is a team that I don't think any of us really thought a lot of to begin the season, unfortunately. And now we're having to totally readjust and recalibrate what we think about BYU. I think they're getting really solid quarterback play. Their defense is outstanding. And, you know, that I would be surprised, judging by what this team has in front of them, I would be surprised if they're not at least in it, you know, with a chance to go to the Big 12 championship game.
Joel Klatt of Fox Sports is on BYU Sports Nation. You alluded to it a moment ago. You talked about Jake Retzlaff and some solid quarterback play for BYU. What do you make of the quarterback matchup overall in this showdown? Because statistically speaking, Joel, Jake Retzlaff has in many ways outperformed Noah Fifita, which is crazy in and of itself. But what do you make of tomorrow's quarterback matchup?
No, he has. He has. I think that that's totally fair. So let me start with Noah. Okay, so Noah has forced it, and that's what happens. You know, you kind of make an announcement at a basketball game, and there's so much hype surrounding him coming back, along with Tedero and McMillan, and rightly so. I mean, they are tremendous players, you know, obviously, but you can tell that there is a fair amount of pressing going on the field. And he needs to curb that and just let the offense come to him. When he lets the offense come to him, they're very dangerous. I mean, they can march up and down the field. They are a very dangerous team. Look at what they did. You know, they were able to beat Utah, which is just not an easy thing to do. On the opposite side, I've been so impressed with Retzlaff, in particular with his ability to continue to move the football and be effective, even though they've had such a committee of running backs. And you know, I wouldn't say that they have been dominant or even overly consistent running the football, but he's been able to keep it on the tracks. Now, it helps when you're playing quality defense. It helps when you get touchdowns out of the special teams and out of the defense. All of that helps, and it's complementary. But as a young player, I think he's got a really bright future. I think he's got a high ceiling. You can tell the ball comes out of his hands really well, and I think he makes pretty good decisions. You know, when I'm watching the film, I don't see him go backwards with his eyes. I know that might sound strange, but like, for instance, Fifita went backwards a couple of times with his eyes. He was like 1, 2, 3, 2. It's like, you can't do that playing quarterback. And I don't see that from Jake. I think he's done a nice job.
What kind of Arizona team do you expect? Because the one that beat Utah, hey, everyone has respect for that win. But the performance at Kansas State on a Friday night a couple weeks ago was like, whoa, what was that? 31-7. And then Texas Tech at home, they're just banging in field goals all night. Can't finish drives. They lose at home to Texas Tech, who is also a good team. What version of Arizona are you expecting?
Well, I always plan for the good version. You know, I'm sure you guys are hoping for the bad version. They're banged up. I'm interested to see what they can put on the field from a defensive standpoint. And because of that, I think it's going to be a game that if Arizona wants to win this game, I do believe it's going to have to be a high-scoring game, which is difficult when you're talking about this BYU defense. So, I expect Fafita and McMillan to play better. Normally, when you get veteran guys that struggle one week, they're going to come back and play better the next week just because they've got a week of correcting those mistakes. They go back to the film room. All of that makes sense to me. I'm expecting them to play well offensively. I don't know what to expect on their defensive side. So if Arizona wants to win, I think that the game has to be in the 30s.
Joel, let's say BYU wins the game. They get to 6-0, and incredibly, through 6 games, they're bowl eligible and have surpassed last season's win total. At what point do you have, what does BYU need to do for you to say, okay, not only could they compete to get in the Big 12 title game, but this might be a team that can get into the college football playoff?
Well, that's the beauty about this system, is that if you can get into that game, then it's 60 minutes to go. And so if that, I'm going to start in November on my program. I'm going to start weekly just putting up an entire list of the teams that are alive for the college football playoff. BYU is going to be one of those because they're alive for a conference championship. So previously we would say like, oh, I don't know, all these things have to happen. These dominoes have to fall. Nothing has to fall. BYU's in complete control of their own destiny. They don't even have to go undefeated. They just need to get to the Big 12 championship game, and then you've got 60 minutes to go to the playoff. That's what I love about this system, and I think that's what a fan base like BYU should be so excited about in terms of a year like this. It's real, and I don't know if you would feel like it's real even as an undefeated in the previous system.
Why do you say that? Dive into that a little more.
Because in the previous system, as far back as they started, you would probably have to be an undefeated. And as much as I love this team, like, they're still 18 to 22-year-olds. So I think BYU is going to lose along the way. All right.
For sure.
That's, and maybe not for sure, maybe not 100%. That's what the odds would tell you. And if BYU with a loss, even as a conference championship winner in a 4-team playoff, I don't know, it's a coin flip. You would have probably a 2-loss SEC team that would be pounding the table and they would be lobbying for it, or even a Big Ten team. So you can't guarantee that you're going to go unless you're perfect. To me, that's way too narrow of a path. So to me, this is way more real this year than in previous years. And yeah, it helps that you're undefeated, but it doesn't even matter, which is, to me, the best part. So you just keep plugging away, get yourself to that conference championship game, and if you win it, you go.
We were hoping for a bowl game plus, and here we sit at 5-0. BYU gets to 6. Like, yeah, this has been awesome. The regular season, while you could argue has been diminished in somewhat, I think it's been awesome. This has been great. So how?
So yeah, I would disagree. I think the regular season's been better.
That's what I was saying. It has not
real
diminished.
For more teams. Yeah. I'm with. I mean, we didn't lose any level of hype or importance surrounding that Bama Georgia game. We're not losing any hype or importance to that Oregon Ohio State game. Exactly. Yeah. We'll still think Penn State Ohio State's a monster, and yet, like, you come here to Provo in October, and it's a 2-loss Arizona and undefeated BYU, and they're like, this is monumental because even Arizona is still alive with only 1 loss in the conference. Remember, that Kansas State game is not a league game for them.
Yep.
So it's important for both teams. So this notion that the regular season was going to be diminished, I always felt like was a false flag, if you will, and it's certainly played out that way.
Joel Klatt of Fox Sports on BYU Sports Nation on a Football Friday as we look ahead to Arizona and BYU tomorrow. Okay, Joel, how do we make your return trip to Provo a little bit better compared to being ejected as an Idaho Falls Padre?
I'm holding everyone hostage here in the car. They don't want to get out because we're on the air. So I'm just going to get out myself. Okay, say that again.
How do we make this return trip to Provo better than being ejected in a minor league baseball game?
What do you need?
What do you need from us?
Oh man, atmosphere. I just need atmosphere. Well, I mean, look at this place.
I
right?
know.
I'm like, this is incredible. I really enjoy it here. I grew up in Denver, so like this is the type of climate that I'm used to and enjoy. to me, it's all about atmosphere. So bring it in the stadium when you're talking about Saturday night and the crowd or I guess Saturday afternoon. That's what will make it memorable for me is if we have a raucous environment.
I love it. We may have to deliver you an 18-inch long maple bar donut known as a cougar tail as well. That may make its way up to the broadcast booth.
Guys, do you guys know that I consider myself a donut aficionado? I love donuts.
We've got a donut for you. Yeah.
I race to the airport every single Saturday to get home by Saturday night so that I can wake up early Sunday morning, get donuts for my boys before we go to church. So, like, if you showed up with a cougar tail, I would be forever in your debt.
Joel, donuts, church, football, you fit in here, bro.
You welcome.
I was going to say, I mean, look at me. I got the blonde hair. God, goodness gracious.
Elder Klatt out here.
Joel, it's great to catch up with you. We know, obviously, you're very busy. Wish you the best in your meetings with the coaches. Enjoy Provo, and we'll look forward to your call tomorrow.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Have a good day.
You got it. Joel Klatt of Fox Sports
Elder
on BYU
Klatt,
Sports Nation. Get